the span from 2012 to 2016, there are some pretty interesting drivers to join the IndyCar series that never really made an impression. A fact I briefly mentioned in a previous installment of the series about Luca Filippi. The driver we'll be discussing today was another one of these drivers. A driver whose brief F1 career was only remembered for tragedy, who then moved to race in the US in search of glory. In this episode of All IndyCar, we talk about Max Chilton. Welcome back to All IndyCar, the motorsports history show looking at the most interesting stories in American open-wheel racing. Max Chilton was born just south of London in the town of Redhill on April 21st, 1991. He was the son of Graham Chilton, who was the co-owner of the Benfield Group, one of the biggest independent reinsurance groups in the UK. Graham co-owned the company until it was bought out by the Aon Corporation in a deal where Graham got over 70 million British pounds. Max was also the younger brother of Tom Chilton, who would find success in touring car racing. Max would begin his own racing career at the age of 10 when he started racing in karts. He didn't win a championship in karts to my knowledge, but he still did good enough to progress up into cars, making his debut in the T-Cars Championship in 2005. His best success in the series would come the year after, when in 2006 he finished runner-up to your champion, Luciano Becchetta. In 2007 he raced mainly in British Formula 3, and also apparently made a start in the Star Mazda Championship in the US. However, I couldn't find anything that confirmed or denied that. As for his time in British F3, it was honestly pretty bad. He had to miss the first 2 races of the year at Donington because he wasn't 16 yet, but was allowed to race for the rest of the year. He would score no points and have a best finish of 11th at Snetterton and finish 18th in the championship. 2008 would be Max's best shot yet, as he signed for High Tech Racing for the British F3 season. He would get 2 poles, 2 podiums, and 1 fastest lap, but besides that, he didn't do anything this year. His next year in the series was much better, with him getting his lone win in the series and getting a 4th place points finish. So after 3 seasons in British F3, only one of which where he actually won a race, I don't really know the logic behind the decision to move him up to GP2 for 2010. Driving for ORT, the 2010 GP2 season had a lone highlight of a good weekend in Monza, where he finished 8th in race 1 and 5th in race 2. The same could be said about 2011 when he drove for Carlin. Remember that name, it comes back like 2 or 3 minutes later into this video. In 2012, he became a test driver for Marussia, and that must have given him a confidence boost to have his best season in GP2. He started the year off with a podium in Malaysia, then got another 4 top 10s. He would finish 13th in the second race at Bahrain, but then get another 7 top 10s. At the first race in Hungary, he would grab his first career GP2 win and grab another win before the season was over. Max would finish 4th in the championship and impress Marussia to the point where they gave him a full-time drive for the F1 team alongside Jules Bianchi. His time in the team was fairly quiet. I'm pretty sure he had the record for the most amount of races in a row without a DNF for a brief period of time, that being 25. That is certainly something, but besides that, his time with the team was boring at best and unfortunately tragic at its worst. After the serious accident suffered by teammate Jules Bianchi at the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix, the team would fall into hard times. After the Russian Grand Prix, the team wouldn't start another race that year and eventually filed for administration. For 2015, the team would have new owners and a completely new driver lineup, with Max Chilton moving to Indy Lights. As for teammate Bianchi, however, he succumbed to his injuries from Suzuka on July 17, 2015, marking the first Formula 1 fatality in over 21 years. Racing with a heavy heart, Max would drive for his former home of Carlin in the Indy Lights series. The first race of the year at St. Pete wouldn't be a good start as he would crash on lap 1 with Felix Sorales. However, the second race that weekend was great, with Chilton finishing 4th, kicking off a string of 6 top 5s. He didn't start the Freedom 100 and missed the Toronto doubleheader, which frankly derailed what could have been an even better result in the championship. The biggest highlight of the year was certainly the Iowa race weekend. On the first race weekend after the death of his former teammate, emotions were certainly running high, but that didn't distract him from grabbing the pole and eventually the win, a win he would dedicate to his fallen teammate. He would nearly win 3 races in a row, with 2 runner-ups at Mid-Ohio, and would round off the year with a podium at Laguna Seca. He had a really great start to his career in America that impressed quite a few people. One of the people who was impressed was Chip Ganassi, and thus on February 1st, 2016, it was announced that Max Chilton would race for the team that very same year. This was finally his great shot in racing for the reigning championship winning team. So how would Max Chilton do this year? Pretty bad if we're being honest. Across the whole year, Max would only get 2 top 10s, the worst of all Chip Ganassi drivers. He would eventually finish 19th in the standings, the second worst of all full-time drivers, period. 2017 looked like it was going to be the same, until the Indy 500 where he led 50 laps and eventually finished 4th. With a great result in the sport's best race, this should have been a turning point. Well, no, he only got 4 more top 10s that year, finished the year 11th in the points, and then left the team for Carlin, who were joining the sport in 2018. However, this move never really worked out. After a less than stellar 2018 when he finished no better than 11th, Chilton cut all ovals besides the Indy 500 from his schedule, sharing driving duties with Connor Daly. The only highlight from his time with the team was a single top 10 at Road America in 2021. Besides that, however, his career was basically going nowhere, so when Carlin left IndyCar before 2022, Max had no problems responding in kind, leaving IndyCar after only 78 starts and only 9 top 10s. For the longest time, it was unclear what Max's plans were for 2022, but he had expressed interest in racing in Le Mans again. However, nothing concrete was really revealed. What he has done this year is break a record. Max was driving the McMurdy fan car at the Goodwood Hill Climb when he broke the hill climb record, usurping the Volkswagen IDR from a few years ago. I can't sit here and necessarily call Max Chilton a bad driver, but he certainly wasn't a great driver either. However, Max Chilton accomplished something most of us can only dream of, and that is he's raced in F1 and IndyCar, and I guess that's more than most of us can say. When it comes to his IndyCar career though, I suspect those sweet looking Gallagher schemes will be the most memorable part of it.